hi there, everybody. My name is David McLeod. I am your Life Mastery Coach, and I'd like to welcome you to Life Mastery TV, your source for inspiration, empowerment, and fulfillment. This is episode 243, and we're calling this Wellness Through Collaboration. Now, I first found out about the wellness universe in early 2018, and I formally signed on as a member in May of that year. As I became more involved with the organization and attended different seminars and workshops, I really fell in love with the amazing people I met. And I realized that woo, as we like to call it, was something really special. In July of 2022, I made a commitment to invest in the company, and I became a senior partner of the organization. Now, for this episode of Life Mastery TV, I decided that it was high time I shined a more powerful light on this really great organization. So I invited the CEO, Anna Pereira, to join me to talk about the real secret sauce that makes Woo so special, and also to share with you some of the great things you can expect from the organization in the near future. So please welcome, or help me welcome, Anna Pereira to the program. Hey there, Anna. So great to have you on again. I'm so glad that we finally had a meeting of the schedules, as it were, so that we're able to do this together. It's always a joy to share space with you. And so here we are. And we're going to talk about your favorite topic.
Yes, we are. Thank you, David. I appreciate being on here again. Once again, I always love being on your show. Thank you for this time with you.
Oh, you're most welcome. So I really need to hear, and maybe other people would like to hear this too, a little bit of your own personal journey that led to the creation of the wellness universe, and what it was that really motivated you to create this kind of space and we'll talk about what kind of space this is a little bit later, but I really like to hear a little bit about your journey, and I want to get that on camera and on recording.
Well, thank you for that, David. So, it's funny that you asked me this specific question, because I've been talking about this a lot lately, and it's almost like I haven't talked about it, and then it's been a topic of conversation recently. So, I have had a lifetime of experience of being an entrepreneur. I've had my own clothing line, which we've discussed in one of your previous episodes before. And it was a very lonely time for me, because I was in the basement of actually this home that I live in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey, Portugal, and I travel extensively. And it was a very lonely time for me, because there wasn't a lot of people that I could collaborate with. Even people that were perhaps cheerleaders for me didn't fully understand my path and my journey as an entrepreneur, especially one who is a creative spirit, as you are in music, as you are in the transformation space as a coach. These things are done from our heart, and there's a different type of experience we have as an entrepreneur in these heart-led businesses rather than transactional businesses. Like, I'm an investor in real estate and I just buy it and I sell it. There's not a heart connection to what we do. When we are creating the result of something of which we're trying to produce, whether it be music or art or transforming someone's life, this comes from us, and we are so attached to it, and it's so much part of us. And I feel that we need a little bit more surrounding us to support our journey, so we have more resilience, so we can get through the stressors of life, and that we surround ourselves with people who understand this conversation around us and the challenges that we face, and also can celebrate with us wholeheartedly when we have achievements. So from that space, and that experience, it really lent a lot to why I created the Wellness Universe. And it only came about as fulfilling a need. I've been the type of person, which you know me, I'm a problem solver. I see a situation and I never want people to be unhappy. I always try to bridge the gap. When I opened up my Facebook page years ago, actually just to begin some marketing for my inspirational jewelry collection, within a few days, I realized this is going to be a space where I share my inspirational messages. So my Facebook page is actually where it all started. And I started sharing my inspirational memes, those little, posts that we do to, give
Sure.
people, a smile. And I started networking with hundreds of people over time. Organically, my page grew to over 300,000 followers, and several of those followers were the people that I networked, that you and I have come to know and love. Those coaches, those consultants, those writers, those speakers, those social workers, all the people that are in our space for transformation, self-development, and support in one way, shape, or another through wellness and well-being. And when I hit that mark is when I was given the vision to create the space to bring all of us together into one platform, one portal, open to the public, where we're found on Google, we're found online, and it's called the Wellness Universe. So the inspiration was because, one, I knew how lonely it was to be a business owner in my particular space and not be surrounded by peers or collaborators. And then later on in life, having this whole new network of people and serving people who were looking for the products and services that wellness and well-being providers and professionals were able to provide, and to bring those two together to have the visibility and the portal, but also to bring us together, because we are stronger when we come together and we have each other to lean on and support. And that's why today it was Wellness Through Collaboration was really, touching my heartstrings, because it's the next layer around the conversation that I'm usually talking about with community. This real collaboration piece, I feel, is so much more, it feeds our soul and it nourishes us in a deeper way than just having community around you. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I love the way you describe it all. It's whenever I hear you talk about the Wellness Universe, I find myself getting all tingly. So you're doing a good job. You got the right words, and you know how to share that story in a way that I think activates people. And even so, I know that in spite of that skill that you have, getting people to actually commit and join and become members of this group is challenging. I think all of us face the same challenge as coaches, as teachers, as writers, as we want people to get our message, and we want people to benefit from what we have to offer. And we run into challenges trying to get the message out there in such a way that the people who really need to hear it will take it in, absorb it, and then take some action, some inspired action for themselves. That's the challenge that I think we all face. And this is where I think the collaboration piece comes into being, because you might have an idea for how to do something, but you find yourself banging your head against a wall because of some small little thing. And then somebody else can just say, "Hey, Anna, have you tried this?" And you say, "Holy shit, I never even thought of that. What a great idea." That's the beauty of collaboration. Sometimes we get so down in the weeds with what we're doing that we forget to come up for air, take a breath, and maybe look around and see what else is going on.
Absolutely. And I love that you actually brought up that specific point, because when you collaborate with people, because like you said, you're down in the weeds, or you're tunnel vision, or you're only operating from your point of awareness and to the point of awareness of which you believe to be. When you come together with collaborators, it could be anything. Also, it could be a collaborator of the same exact conversation. Like, let's say we have two grief counselors and they both cater to the same audience, but they're having a dynamic conversation around grief that opens up eyes. Or a collaboration where you're complementary to that person. Like, somebody's talking about grief, but you're bringing in a nutritionist. Like, how do you start making healthier choices while you're going through grief? Because we want to reach for those comfort foods. Right. And, so collaborations come in all sorts of ways of to evolve, to become something else, to become the new product. But like you said, what I find so instrumental and so impactful when you do have collaborations is you get to see a different perspective. Somebody comes with a different idea or a different way of thinking, or a new way, or something. They're exposing you to something. But when you're collaborating, you hold the same vision, you hold an outcome. And so that way you're both putting in for this one outcome, rather than people just operating in their lane and they're going into in their lane separate. When you have a shared vision, uh, both parties, or three or four or five, whatever, they all come together, and you're coming together to empower the one vision and make it that much stronger. But you're each getting enriched, and you're each getting cross-pollinated, because everyone is still bringing their own, I want to say, their own ingredient to the stone soup to make the soup this really amazing soup at the end of the day.
Right. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned nutrition, because we got Ricky McKenna, who's on watching this right now, and she is a nutritionist. And by the way, she left a comment. She said, "Thank you, Anna. Well said. You are an inspiration to so many people, myself included. I'm so happy to, quote, be back, unquote, and looking forward to more collaborations." And if you don't know this, Ricky was actually on the show last 2 weeks ago. So it was great. We had a wonderful conversation about all kinds of different aspects of nutrition. But the nutrition metaphor is a good one, because, it's like each of us brings an ingredient that no one else can possibly bring, and we bring it, and we find a way of offering that ingredient to the overall recipe for whatever this vision is that you talked about, that we're trying to create. And that's the beauty of collaboration, that just, it can't be created any other way. I mean, I've tried to collaborate with myself. It doesn't work too well. Or to my alternate selves, sometimes I try to do that. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work so well. But really, deep meditation is a powerful way for me to get connected to my spiritual muse and to get maybe some new ideas that I hadn't had before. But I often find that having another human being, another human presence, whether it's a virtual presence like we're doing today, or whether it's someone in the same room, often that can trigger creative energy that I might not get any other way. So that's the beauty of collaboration, I think.
Absolutely. And the vision that comes to mind as you say that, it's like as if we all showed up and said, bring paint with you. We're going to paint a painting today, folks. Everybody's going to come up and bring a different color. Not everybody's going to bring red. I mean, everyone, just by nature, it's just going to happen that way. And it's the same thing with ideas, experience, and everything. And I think one of the most important things, though, to mention here is that shared vision. Everyone has to be on board with that shared vision, but hold it. What is the saying? When you hold a bird loosely, like you hold it delicately. So you have the shared vision, because everyone needs to understand what the outcome of what you're all trying to do, but hold it loosely, because the power of collaboration is when the ideas come and things shape, they change shape, they mold to be something different, like clay, is something that is much greater than you can imagine, is underneath that clay to be revealed. And when everybody comes together with all of the ideas, there could be something so much more powerful and so much more beautiful waiting at the end. The destination is not always where you thought that you were going to end up when you have a collaboration.
Yeah. So I love your metaphor of the painting. It occurred to me as you were speaking, even if you asked everybody to bring red paint, they would still all be different.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
true.
It just occurred to me. I said, hey, guys, let's do a red painting. And that's all you do. Everybody bring red paint, and don't say any more than that. And all the colors will, certainly there will be some similarities, but maybe someone will even bring green. Maybe that person's colorblind.
Yes.
You never know. And the idea of that, that's just so it's exciting to me, because you just never know what people are going to contribute when they allow their creative juices to flow. I also like when you were talking about holding the bird lightly, holding the vision delicately. To me, that is a way of saying, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Leora, can you please drop off camera? This is just a conversation between myself and Anna. Anyway, I don't think that'll be recorded. I don't think it'll be recorded.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, holding the vision lightly, to me, that is like not being attached to a particular outcome, just allowing whatever to just evolve out of whatever contribution you're making. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because as I was actually talking to you a minute ago, and I was saying, and I was giving that example, I'm like, yeah, even if people did show up with the same color, it's going to be how many shades of that color is there. And it's the same thing here. It's you know, the to hold the vision loosely and to come together with everyone who's excited about the main vision. It really creates an amazing outcome in the end of the day. And again, and another one of the points also, there has to be a dedication and there has to be a sense of responsibility to the project, and people need to have that as part of the overall. To come to a project, to a collaboration, you have to have a couple of rules in place, right? But to have to know and to share in the vision is I think what's important, because obviously when the great minds come together and they're all excited about the vision, magic can happen.
Right. Yeah. Hello, Leora. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. However, this is just a conversation between Anna and me. I wonder if you could just turn your camera off, please. So, Anna, as far as the wellness universe is concerned, I know that it's been going for quite a few years now. You've had the dream for quite a while, and if my understanding is correct, you basically had the formal idea around 2013, and then you had your launch in 2015. Well, what this means, right? It means we are coming up to a 10-year anniversary of the launch of the Wellness Universe. So I'm assuming that there's going to be some kind of celebration about that. So I'm going to throw that out there and have you tell us all about that celebration.
Well, I can't disclose any details right now as we are a little bit too far out, but yes, there was a lot of work behind the scenes to create this collaboration, because essentially the Wellness Universe is in and of itself a collaboration of providers of wellness and well-being, right? And it took a year of getting everyone together behind the scenes to do the launch of the website. So what you see like as the space to connect with all of these amazing folks who make up the Wellness Universe, it took a lot of work. It took a year of work behind the scenes to make that happen.
Yeah, of course, I know that work. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, so it's been going since 2015. Well, actually going since before that, but officially in the public domain, I guess, since 2015. Right. And you've accomplished a lot in that time. Have you really taken a look back to see how much you've accomplished?
From time to time, I think about all the wonderful things that we've done. Like we've done fundraisers for organizations. We have done in-person retreats. We have published best-selling books. We have made best-selling authors out of people who didn't even think that they could write. And they have been sharing their message. I have had stories of people who have felt that by being part of the Wellness Universe as a practitioner, their life was saved because they were so, again, in that space where I was talking from earlier, feeling so alone and so lonely, and now they found their tribe. To wellness seekers who have had their lives transformed and changed from the people that they've met through the Wellness Universe, from the content that they've been exposed to, and the feeling and the vibe that they get by being here. So from time to time, I reflect back on these things, David, and I do have to take that time to do that because I'm in it every day, and it's like you're in the pot of the boiling water, you know what I mean, all the time. And so I do have to be sit back and reflect and be grateful for what is here and what has been built over these years, because it's not just in and of itself what you see on the outside. It's every facet of everything from the inside. How many friends I've made, how many people have touched my life, how many lives have been touched because of the Wellness Universe being there for our practitioners and every single person who comes and seeks well-being. And now taking all of these amazing resources of all the folks that we've worked with over all of these years, the know, love, and trust factor, and getting to know who does what and what their specialty is, and now bringing it into the next phase, which is the Wellness Universe corporate organization that we've launched. We launched softly in November, and we're now building out the structure for the technology and everything else for that to take place. Lots of wonderful conversations are happening there, but it's such a good feeling to know that everything that I've done over all of these years, in and of itself, each individual article, book, class, program, summit, anything that we've done in and of itself, those individual projects have moved mountains and transformed lives. And collectively, as a collaborative project of the Wellness Universe, I've gotten to work with so many amazing human beings that have now, I feel confident in launching a new company to bring them over into making more shifts and ripples of well-being go out into organizations and groups and corporations and out into the world.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing, really, the whole thing. I've been part of all four of your Wellness Universe guides books, and that was lots of fun. And actually, I will say, just speaking for myself, I never really thought that I would spend that much time writing, to be honest. I thought I'd be focusing more energy on other things, but it turns out that writing is a really powerful part of what I do. And I might not have gotten there except for getting a little kick in the butt from you to participate in these book programs. So I'm grateful for that. And now I can call myself, well, I'm a multi best-selling author and an international best-selling author because of I think it was it the Stress Relief or the Happiness book? I can't remember which one made it as an international bestseller. And that's awesome. And so now I'm going to be the lead author in a book. I'm also going through Laura DeFranco, by the way, her Brave Healer Productions books. But this book is all about helping elders to share their energy in the world. So it's amazing to me how much has come to me as a result of first of all, being a member of the Wellness Universe, and then growing into a senior partner of the Wellness Universe. That's been an amazing. I really honestly never saw myself as a senior partner material or anything like that. But I thought, well, if Anna says it's okay, I'll try it. I'll see what happens. So, and I'm enjoying it. It's great. I love it.
So I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. I was going to talk a little bit about, now we spoke about, we got all these different ways of having virtual connections, and that's great. And especially since COVID, when we've been kind of forced into this virtual world. One of the things that I really loved about the Wellness Universe was the Soul Treat experience. And I've been to two of those. I was going to go to the third one, and then COVID got in the way, and I just didn't end up going to that one. And what I'm going to tell you now is something I'm sure you know, is I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm with lots of anticipation. I don't know when that's going to be, and I'm not going to even press for a date because I know that you've got a lot of things on your plate. But I think that is one of the greatest values of the world wellness universe is being able to get together with other practitioners in a beautiful sacred space where we connect, we talk, we share, we do all kinds of processes together, and it's really a way for us as practitioners to keep our own personal practice going.
Thank you, David. And since you brought up Soul Treat, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I actually, I don't know how the universe is serving up these conversations lately, but I literally was investigating yesterday because the Creative Life Center, was it? The Art of Living Retreat Center was in Boone. Creative Life Center was the one in Sedona. I was inquiring whether they are still doing events there, because I knew when the new owners took over that something was going to happen with that space. And I literally just emailed them yesterday, and they got back to me like, "Oh, sorry, we're not doing any more events here." So I was starting already to investigate that for next year. So we are looking to do a Soul Treat for next year. We need to just kind of find the team on the back end to help us to get it all off the ground.
Yeah, that's well, that's kind of too bad. I know somebody, I know somebody for sure who has a place in Sedona. I don't know if it's a place that's suitable for workshops or not, or this kind of gathering. How many people do you imagine being there? Like 200 or so?
I'd say probably around 100 again. Yeah.
Yeah, 100. And
But the venues that we were looking at, I mean, there's another venue, by the way. They did, but it doesn't suit the way that we did Soul Treat last time with 3 tracks or 2 tracks rather, for example.
right.
And then another. So yeah, it's just those details of event coordination. We'll get it all sorted out. I'm not
Well, I'm sure we're
worried
going to
about it.
have more conversations about it in the senior
Yeah.
partner meetings and stuff. But
Yes.
I wanted to get something on record here about that. So yeah.
I know now you're holding me to it. Thanks, David. Public.
Well, no, I'm not going to hold you to it. You didn't give me a firm date. You didn't give me a location. You didn't give me anything else. I just know that it's in the works, and it's kind of,
Yep.
the wheels are turning, and that's what really matters. What do you imagine is the most important thing that the wellness universe provides? Aside, I mean, we've talked a lot about opportunities for connection and that sort of thing. But if you were to kind of pull that aside and start looking at the wellness universe as just a living entity in the world, what is the most powerful thing that you believe that it offers?
I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I've been saying this over and over again, and it's to the shock of certain people once they get involved, not the fact that they can get hundreds of people signed up to their classes, not the fact that they get, high on the search engines. Like if you just Google my name, my Wellness Universe page is #1 on page 1 organically. Not that they get published, not that they become best-selling authors, but literally once they come together with the other members and start engaging and communicating, you feel a sense of home. It's easy to connect with the other members and have peer conversations, have help, have support, have a place to share, have a place to celebrate. These are the greatest values that I find once the members go and peek their head up above the water level and see, oh, it's not just a marketing tool. It's not just a place for me to be part of a directory or to be found or for me to put my content out, but literally start connecting with us. And they come to the meetings, they come to the networking sessions, and they have communications with the other members. They feel a sense of home and brothership and sisterhood that you just don't get in other networks, because we are more than a directory, more than a service provider for people who are seeking wellness services. But internally, we are truly a peer support network like none other. And that's what I truly find for the members. Now, for a wellness seeker, they literally have the gamut here, and they can connect with people through the wellness universe, on their social media platforms, through their classes and courses, and they will always get a human being. Our members really connect with anyone who reaches out to them via email, via their social media, via their LinkedIn, whatever it is. So that's the two benefits that I see. One, for wellness seekers, really connecting to someone that can truly help them and they can trust because we have a vetted community. And then for us, that we really have a family to come home to.
Right. Well, I like that. You said the word family. I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's not necessarily your family of origin, but a family of choice, I think, is probably how I would describe it. These are the people who have similar points of view, similar perspectives, similar desires to help heal the world, similar, perhaps even similar trainings, of different modalities and stuff. And even though, you might have one person who's a Reiki master and another person who's an energy healer or another person who likes to deal with angels, ultimately we're all doing the same thing, which is trying to increase the level of consciousness in the world, improve people's lives, bring about healing so that we become more holistic and holistically whole beings, is what I'm trying to say. And I think ultimately that's what we're doing here. It's a microcosm of love, is the way I would describe it. And it's really beautiful because we just kind of keep sharing. We're sharing our form of love in the world, and it's intermingling with the other forms of love that are shared with the other people, producing this amazing energy that just can't be described. I mean, I don't think there's any real words for it. And so what we'll have to do is we'll have to what's the word I want to say? Depend upon people who write poetry. Let them describe this kind of energy. So that's how I see it.
Thank you, David. I love that.
Yeah. So now, given that I've asked you what you think the wellness universe brings to the world, and I kind of knew what you were going to say anyway. What is it that you would love for the wellness universe to bring that it's not currently bringing?
I would just love to see more practitioners in the wellness universe. I would love to see people make the time to make those connections, because the ones who are active and participate, and who are not like lone wolf, and they look for the collaborations, they look for the peer support. It's what you get back, you cannot measure. You cannot measure. Even with the personal support that you get, because we offer lots of business support and things like that, right? But I mean, I've truly made real friends, and they come to me and they tell me like what's going on in their life. And each of them have made friends with each other because we trust us in the wellness universe. So for that, I would love to see just more people making a little bit more time in their life to really be part of the fabric, who are members, and invite in more members who are very high level and are very serious about making a difference in the world. What I love is to see anyone who's benefited from receiving some transformation out of the wellness universe, a positive engagement with one of our members through being in one of their classes or engaging with their content or from the books, just to tell a friend about the wellness universe and to spread the word. So those are kind of the two things. And then again, knowing that we have this new wellness universe corporate, and that'll help us spread into a more commercial lane, and getting the word spread of wellness and well-being through organizations and groups, knowing that we have that resource, like to come and tap us, or let us know if you know somebody that can use those services.
Yeah, it's there's something here that I think that it seems to be a common human experience. And I'll speak using I statements just so that I'm not projecting. I notice that when I am satisfied, content, happy, I generally just want to be in that satisfaction, contentment, and happiness. And I don't generally talk about it. I don't say to you, Anna, necessarily, oh, I'm really happy, satisfied, and content because of this experience. In the moment I don't feel satisfied, happy, and content, that's when I start speaking up. That's when I will bring something to your attention. Oh, this is not working. This is not working. So I would just like to remind you that, and I have to remind myself here, just because we're not necessarily hearing or receiving the kind of feedback that we'd like to receive that tells us how well we're doing, it doesn't mean we're not doing well. It just means that people are happy, satisfied, and content. And they are probably just enjoying their moments. Now, that's not true for everybody, of course. So there are a lot of people who will take the time and write a review, send out a note, and maybe encourage other people to come check out this place. I mean, I do that anyway. I encourage people to come here all the time. But when I'm encouraging people to come here, I'm not necessarily doing it from that place of happiness, contentment, and satisfaction. I'm doing it from going back and remembering what I got out of this. Oh, yeah, I think it's time for me to share something about the wellness universe or something like that. I don't know how other people do it, but that's just my experience.
That's interesting, and that's interesting that you say that. And I think many of us, that's just human nature. We cry when we're in pain, and and if we're content, there's nothing really that we utter out of our mouths. So
Right.
we do have to make it a point to say, hey, yeah, I did get this at this place today because of something a few weeks ago or a few months ago or a year ago that I learned here. And it would be nice for people to remember us and to pass us down the line so we can help somebody else. I remember somebody told me, they wrote me actually, and it's really nice to hear these stories, but I remember a couple of years ago on LinkedIn, a woman told me that she was carrying our stress relief book, the first one we did, in her purse, and it was all tattered because she would use it and she would read it all the time. And she was leaving work the same time another person was leaving work. They were walking through the parking lot, and she noticed that person was having a really hard time. I don't know if she was crying or something, but she pulled the book out of her purse to give to the woman, and the woman was almost like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, I don't need this. But like, she it meant so much to her, and she got so much out of that book. She attempted to give it to somebody else and to try to pass along, like, this book has really helped me, and I'd really like for you to read it, So even in that person's place of pain, they were almost like reject, like, I don't need a self-help book, or I don't need, but
That's
but
right.
she eventually did give it to her. She did give it to her. But it's nice to know when you have touched someone so deeply that they are excited to share you.
Isn't it fascinating how the ego mind will put up a block against getting any kind of support, because the ego mind, in order to accept it, has to say, oh, I am suffering and I need your support. To me, it's so stupid. We all have this going on, and it really takes work to overcome that. I remember how many times have I spent in my life, in my early life anyway, just deflecting compliments. Someone would say, hey, thank you for doing that. I say, oh, no problem. Yeah, thank you for blah. I would switch it around and say, thank you for being who you are, or something. Not accepting the compliment. I mean, what happens after a while is people stop offering the compliments, And so if I think all of us have to learn to just lower our guard long enough to say, thank you for that feedback, and thank you for your generous offer. And what a gift it is when you offer me something and I simply say thank you and I take it. Now I've given you the chance to give something. I may not necessarily use that, but that's okay. You now have the gift of knowing that you gave it to me and it had an impact. That's it's really so easy for us all to do this, and yet most of us don't do it. Most of us are so caught up in our minds and our ego minds that we are constantly on defensive, protecting ourselves, avoiding being seen as weak, all these kinds of ridiculous things, that
Mhm.
these ridiculous stories that we have. And so
Yeah.
here we are talking about the wellness universe, a place that is full of what you have called world changers. Now, where did you get that name and why did you use it?
Well, honestly, it was the natural phrase for me to use because I believe that everyone who does one act of good, one act of kindness, you are changing the world. And everyone who's part of the wellness universe as a practitioner, those are called the world changers. And then we have the wellness universe friends, who are the wellness seekers, are essentially changing the world by what they do.
Mm.
And again, everyone who's here has applied to be here. They're vetted to be here. We are a membership site, but you have to qualify to be here. And we do genuinely see them as being a world changer. If you could touch one life, imagine the ripple that can go out, and you eventually can change the world.
Yeah, that's right. And I think you just touched on it. It's the most important aspect is I I I really can't change anything outside of myself, but I have the power to change what's within me. And when I change that, when I heal it, when I bring it about, then it does tend to ripple outwards. And other people see that. They want a little taste of that for themselves. And they might ask, how did you do that? Well, that's
Mhm.
precisely what we're doing, right? We're guiding each other. You and I are training wheels for each other. That's kind of how I see it. You know, we all say, well, I don't need training wheels. No, yeah, you do. Yeah, we all do. And that's part of this beautiful journey that we're on, is to support each other and to grow into the magnificent beings that we're meant to be.
Absolutely. And life changes every day, David. I mean, we could be going along just fine. Let me take my broken ankle as my example. I'm just going down steps, then boom, I break my ankle. Life changed from that day forward. This is life. So we always need help, resources, support in many different ways, because you don't just it's not like you graduate and you flip a page in a book and then there's just one more page and then you get to the end of the book. No, life is constantly evolving, unfolding, changing. Environmental factors change, age, family dynamics, work situations, life situations, health situations. Everything is changing moment to moment, and it's being able to adapt to that change with more ease and grace and joy that gives us a better life experience. And when you have other people who surround you and support you through those evolutionary periods, because you are evolving, so you can have a better experience through what it is that you're going through, and we're more open to that, then you're going to enjoy life more and to know who you can go to for those things. Like I said, going back to the beginning of my story, I was surrounded with friends and family, but people didn't know how to support me on my entrepreneurial journey with me having a clothing line. They didn't know anything about the fashion industry. They didn't know anything about really owning a website and doing everything from that. So I didn't have really core support in that specialized area. Yes, I knew they loved me. Yes, I knew they celebrated me when I had sales and everything else. But going through the stress of actually operating the business piece of it in that industry, I didn't have any resources. And it was
Mm-hmm.
very challenging. So I think, what you said, it's like life is ever changing, and to have resources to help us on the journey there, it's really a blessing. And this is why I love the wellness universe and our members and all of the wellness seekers that are just so grateful when they're here and they share, how something has transformed their life for them.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anna. I think we're getting close to wrapping up here. But before I do, I want to ask you if there's what is your vision for what's next for the wellness universe? If you could describe that in just a couple of beautiful, well, I know you can describe it in a couple of beautiful sentences. Would you please do that for us?
Yeah, just what's next for the wellness universe. Again, it's been a beautiful evolution, like yourself becoming a senior partner and having, a few investors to help us out to navigate the growth of the wellness universe and help cover the costs of what it takes to operate something this massive is is something that I would love to keep evolving and hopefully growing the business side so we can keep building what we have here. And also, again, with the Wellness Universe corporate and being able to go into organizations and serve those organizations and be able to touch lives in masses, because that's obviously you're coming in and you're serving a group of people at one time. Those are really my focus right now, and just to continue on our trajectory. I mean, I don't think that it was any mistake that the vision was given to me in 2013, and we were preparing for things like COVID, things like wars that we would never thought would have happened again, and we have this amazing tribe of people here to help other people through their daily lives, and just to keep growing on what we're doing.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much. And one final thing I would like to ask of you, do you have any specific words of wisdom or advice that you would say to any individual who's thinking about joining the wellness universe?
Don't wait. Don't wait. And actually, we only do onboarding 2 times a year, and our for membership as a member of the Wellness Universe as a practitioner, that is actually happening on the 29th, I believe, the 29th of April. So, let me see if I can find that link for you. And unless you have that link handy, I gotta get that.
No, I don't have it handy. I'm sorry.
I do. Hold on, I just found it.
And this is for the membership drive that's happening on April 29th. And it'll be right here on this platform for people to participate. And there's the link in the chat for anybody who would like to find out more about that. Well, Anna, thank you so much for being here today. It's always a delight. I just so enjoy spending time with you. And I know that you're on your way to another big traveling event, so I don't want to hold you up much longer. I just want to say to everyone here, thank you for watching today's program. Remember, you can catch the recordings of this and every other episode on my website at lifemasterytv.com. And finally, I'd like to remind everybody to practice my life mastery mantra every day. Remember, it goes like this. I gratefully forgive the imperfect being I have been in the past. I gratefully accept the magnificent being I am right now. I gratefully welcome the evolved being I am becoming in each new moment. So until we meet again, my name is David McLeod, your Life Mastery Coach, wishing you love, light, and blessings on your continuing journey. I'll see you next time on Life Mastery TV. Bye-bye.